All right. We are live on Facebook, Life Unrehearsed, full house. So I'm going to pop my head in here because you won't see me for the rest of the show.
We need little hearts going all.
So we have Katja, Adriano, Steve, Gail. You're who?
Yeah.
Corey.
Exactly.
Married, and you got to know the answer.
16 months.
16 months. Married.
51.
51 years. How about that? And we're going to ask similar questions. So our Valentine's Day special, thank you, all four of you, for being here and being, having the guts to come out on the air and talk about this stuff. We've got another commercial or two. We're going to be on in less than a minute. And our first song, you won't be able to hear it, but it's Love is in the Air. Love is in the air. Everyone's got to sing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'll clear the room.
When you see the on-air button, that means mics are live.
Okay.
And we're having fun.
Yay.
Can you see the red clock there at all, you guys? Or at least this one? So at around 4:44 and a half, that's when we're going to be...
That's when we're going to be what?
A little bit, yeah. So we go by that one, the red one. All right, here we go. And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Yes, love is in the air. My name is Matt Delvecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Sirota, clinical social worker and psychotherapist, specializing in grief and loss.
Corey, I've been looking forward to this segment for a while. Valentine's Day is coming up. Yes, even though we're at the 10th today, it's around the corner, Thursday. Any Valentine's Day plans, Corey?
No.
Pause and no, Andy.
Well, he's playing hockey.
All right. Good man, Andy.
Yeah. And, I'll hang out with my
Maybe I'll bring you a beer after the game or something, Happy Valentine's, honey.
That's right. What about you?
I am very, very fortunate, and believe me, I'd like to say this was planned. It wasn't, because it was booked a while ago. I am going to be in Florida with my wife. We're going for a few days. Let's see, my dad and her dad, and so we're leaving on Tuesday, coming back Saturday. So Valentine's fits in between there. So Stephanie, if you are listening, this was completely planned around Valentine's Day. Okay?
Actually, speaking of Florida, and it's not true, I lied. We're going to see Beautiful on Saturday night.
Oh,
so I'm sorry, honey. But for my parents just celebrated 60 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
60 years! Congratulations.
So, shout out to Sonia and Jerry for 60 years of, I'm going to say, marital. I can't even say it, marital bliss. But they are a great role model for what a good, healthy marriage.
No, and a wonderful couple. Congratulations, 60 years. And Corey, we talk about them often, and they're your biggest fans. So congratulations. All right.
Coming up, seeing that it is Valentine's Day, we thought who better to discuss love and relationships with than a newly married couple, as well as one that's been married for quite some time. So that's who we have in the studio today. So sitting here, Katja and Adriano, who've been married for 16 months, and Steve Gail Webster, who've been married for an impressive 51 years. Welcome to the show, all of you.
Thank you. Hi.
Oh, isn't that nice? We could do that in unison. It's so great to have both of you here, and I think that there is such a different dynamic that speaks to the newlywed versus the long-term marriage. So we're going to ask both of you. Let's start with the newlyweds. How'd you guys meet?
So we met in 2013, I think, at a church retreat, actually. Oh, closer. At a church retreat, and so in a church basement, I guess, is where we met. We were friends first, and then started dating 6 months later or so, about 6 months later, yeah.
So Adriano, is that the right answer?
Yeah, well, what she doesn't mention is that we didn't leave the best impression on each other the first time we saw each other. It was pretty funny because I walked in, and so she immediately saw me as this kind of like obnoxious, loud jock type. And I looked at her and I was like, oh, she's cute, but she's probably kind of ditzy or something.
Oh, nice.
So we didn't really have like an immediately positive impression, and then I just misinterpreted a couple signals. I thought, oh wow, okay, she's into me. I'm gonna keep talking to her. Yeah, but one thing led to another, and here we are. So yeah.
16 months, newlyweds. Congratulations. And now we're going to switch it over to some newlyweds that have been newlywed for 51 years, Corey. We have Steve and Gail Webster, and we're going to ask you the same question. How did you guys meet?
Well, actually, we worked at the same company, Imperial Tobacco, and she was one block away from me, but we passed in the cafeteria, things like that. But really, the first time we met was at a company golf tournament. And I knew her there and invited her to join us. She refused. She was sitting with the executives as they were serving champagne. I didn't afford that.
Gail, all true stories here, or want to add anything?
No, that's true. I knew
You like
him
the champagne?
I knew him as a person of interest, but we really did meet at the golf tournament. And it's funny because neither of us are really golfers, but that is one golf game we do remember.
Nice.
We both won.
That's right. That's right. So, thanks for that. I'm going to ask Katja and Adriano, what has been the biggest challenge in your first year of marriage?
Oh my goodness. So we're a couple who doesn't seem to do things one thing at a time. So before we got married, I graduated from university, moved out for the first time, started a new job. He went back to school. Then we got married. He was doing his MBA. And then in our first year of marriage, he finished his MBA. I started doing my master's. We bought a condo. We moved. So it's been a lot of transitions and a lot of like navigating those transitions and trying to not only get to know one another in a different way, but also how to get up all of those mountain peaks and through the valleys at the same time. I think in our first year of marriage, we've had more transitions than the average.
I mean, nothing really to add to that. She captured it pretty well. I think maybe the one thing I would add to that is that like it's like sort of my friend described it as being task oriented. Like you're just kind of like getting things done on a to-do list, and then you're sort of forgetting about each other, right? So right away we're learning that lesson that you got to craft out time in your week or your day to be able to check in with each other and just kind of like spend time together talking about whatever, and not talking about the stuff you have to get done and getting that stuff done, so.
Words of wisdom, Corey, that spoken like a 51-year year marriage. Way to go, Adriano.
We're probably going to get a lot of reminders. So.
All right, so that's Katja and Adriano, married for a whole 16 months. We're going to turn it over to Steve and Gail now, married 51 years. And we're going to ask you, 51 years, congratulations, just wonderful. Secrets to longevity of a great marriage, and we drove you in today, and there wasn't one fight on the way here, so we know you're happy.
I thought we broke the record. I just add a little comment to. I know the young people are very busy doing this, that, and the other thing, and multitasking, but you think there's 24 hours in a day, have 24 minutes or 34 minutes of screen-free time at dinner, sit down, light a candle, particularly if there's leftovers, dim the lights and light the candle, but put that as a priority.
Isn't that something?
That's a great suggestion. Yeah. So would you say that that's part of your longevity? What some of the secrets to your longevity? What's really held you together?
I think respect for one another is certainly a big issue.
Well, beyond that, to know what your partner wants out of life. We got married in 67, Expo year, a big party for us. But we had to buy a house because we couldn't rent an apartment. With a little help from one of Gail's relatives, we bought a little modest bungalow. I was going to school working, she was working. But we didn't go out and splurge on furniture things. So we bought things as we could afford them. We never went into debt in any extreme time. So that was part of it. We were on the same page in that regard.
It's interesting. that
We used to have BYOC parties, you know, BYOB. BYOC was bring your own chair because we didn't have enough furniture.
I love it. Oh, but it's so true. And you know what you're talking about here is living within your means, like you've done, and the respect for each other, which obviously you have that. So it's so wonderful. You know, we're already going to head out to traffic, but when we come back, we're going to get down and dirty here, Corey. We want to know what's the secret to keeping the romance alive for both newlyweds and someone been married for 51 years. But first, we're going to head out to the CJD Traffic Center with Lauren Glazer. Fantastic.
So
Fantastic.
See
Really.
the text? You can bring it in after they answer.
Is that Andy? Is it?
Well, unless somebody else said I love Coursera.
Oh. a good marriage is
And
built
if they
on
did, I
trust,
wanna go and
respect,
give you the
and
number.
communication. You need to show how the love. You need to show the love. It is hard work, and you need to commit and make the effort. I love you, Corey Schroeder. Guess who? So, do you want me to read the whole thing, or just that part?
It's fun. I mean,
It is.
after
For
they-
sure, what he's saying is fantastic. But do you want me to say that it's from Andy?
Of course. you
Okay.
guess who.
Okay. All right.
And then I
So
can
I'll
give
say
you
it then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, hey, really good.
Yeah,
This is
very
very
fun.
entertaining. Very.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
So we're
We're
all
the best.
natural.
We're the best in the room.
That third couple really sucks.
Actually, that would be you or I.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see how this.
So, we will come back.
All right. I don't know if you were cut off there, so I'm going to zoom in on you here. No, hey, fantastic.
Gorgeous Katja. I pronounced everybody's names right so far.
Mom's watching again. Way to go, Ma. Our biggest fan.
Does she make any comments?
She'll usually. There's Marco. You can hear the news. Let me turn that down. It's funny because our parents are our biggest fans.
Yeah.
And so we'll usually get a text immediately after the show. And they're our best critics.
Yeah.
You know,
They say it as is.
they keep it positive, but if there's any slight little
that's
negative,
right.
we
Yeah.
know,
We get
ooh,
the-
yeah, okay, we
yeah.
gotta. Okay, so Corey's going to come back with the teaser question, the romance question. As you see, it goes very quick. The second part is
It's
even
gonna
quicker.
fly.
Now, we're not going to. There's no advertorial. Sometimes
Right,
if
no,
we have like a
no.
Marco would want to know.
So we're just gonna thank
So we're just
them.
going to thank you, and then we've got to do a teaser
Oh my God.
for next year.
Could you just, what's his name? The optometrist, how am I pronouncing his
Okay,
name?
Dan Samaha. Samaha. Corey is just wonderful with names, and it's not if she's going to screw up a name; it's how badly she's going to screw up a name. Yeah. Dan Samaha. He's we have a eye care show next for one of the guests. You know, for children all the way up to seniors, and how important it could be. So it's quite interesting. And a heart transplant guy tomorrow, next Sunday too.
So I'm going to come back with a question. Do you want to ask about what they learned about the housekeeping?
Well, the question
which
is the
questions are
romance,
like
right?
romance,
And
yeah.
then I'll ask about the habits.
Yeah.
You know, good and bad habits
Yeah.
that you've noticed. Is that fair for everyone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
That, and then any what of the which one would you go with?
Has marriage changed your relationship, or has marriage changed your relationship? Or how has marriage changed your
No,
relationship?
maybe we're not going to ask that one.
No. Okay. Is marriage between two people or two families? I like that.
It's a good.
Do you like that question? Is it between two people or two families?
It's because it can be contentious. You know, I
Yeah.
did that with my interfaith.
Are you okay with that? I like that question. Well, if you were to choose, let's say we had to run at a time, you had to choose the habits that you learnt while together, or between two families. Which one are you? Any votes for one or the other? If we had to choose one, you're okay with both. I like the habits because I think it's a little juicy.
Yeah,
You know?
So I'm going to ask for romance. You're going to ask the habits, but address it to Gail and Steve first.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
What's the question?
The one about the habits.
Something you
Housekeeping.
learned about the partner.
That's
You're
the
gonna say
comment, what
housekeeping?
You said, you know,
Okay.
you remember what you said? Hopefully you'll say it again.
Because that's probably a very
Yeah.
similar answer that
Well,
men
yeah,
and
oh,
people.
well, I cracked up. You're going to crack up.
I hope our marriage will survive that.
So bearing in
Okay.
mind, I don't know if you can see that again, but around 56 at the
Yeah.
latest, we're thanking and out, and then we've got to get out by
Yeah.
57. So it gives us a minute to do our teaser for next.
So I'm going to ask come back, ask about the romance. You're going to read the text and then go into that next question about how.
Oh, so I'll do the
okay?
text right after.
Right
Okay.
after in terms of another answer.
Okay.
Text came in.
I'm glad you reminded me about the text because. Okay, here we go.
I'm so excited. Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Serrata with my co-host Matt Del Vecchio, and we are talking Valentine's Day love with newlyweds Katja and Adriano and Steve and Gail Webster, who have been married for 51 years. We have been sitting on pins and needles. We want to know from all you guys, what's the secret to keeping romance alive? Maybe you guys can start.
Carving out time for one another, I think, is really important in different ways. So we actually read a book recently called The Love Languages, and so I am a person who really feels loved and appreciated with physical touch and people spending time with me, quality time, and some other people might feel love in a different way, like acts of service or gift giving and stuff like that. So that's how we're kind of having to like learn each other's love languages a little bit, and what might be romantic for me is not necessarily romantic for him. So having to navigate that and learning how to do that.
Yeah, and to push that another level, I guess, for me, like what I've been learning a lot is about like listening and also like surprising, right? So I find like in the conversations that we have, like what is Katja telling me? Like what is she telling me about how to love her or what she needs? And that's sometimes very difficult. Like it's not easy because you're two different people, right? And you're coming from two different backgrounds. So even though you love each other and you want to make the effort to help and be there for the other person, you know, you have to learn, like she mentioned, you know, like their language, right? Not all my surprises are going to be well received, right? So I have to figure out which are the ones that she really needs, which are the ones that she's really going to appreciate. And so I think just sort of being kind to yourself when you do mess up at the beginning, and like figuring out like new things that you can do, and constantly listening, like never feeling like you have it set, you know, there's always going to be something new to learn. So
Adriano, you're killing it. You know,
Yeah.
I chose
is this
well.
you talking, or Katja, did you train him really well? You know,
that's right, we rehearsed a lot before.
That's what I mean. But listening, obviously, and coming from a young guy, excellent. Good on you. We're going to shift gears now to the 51 years married, and you know, Steve, I'm going to start with you. What is it? What's the secret to keeping the romance alive after 51 years?
Oh, doing things together, listening, obviously, and reacting or responding to her wishes, or in other words, avoiding the things she doesn't like, but also traveling, experiencing new things, but basically doing things together.
Wonderful. That's very true. Gail, you'd agree.
Well, I think Adriana touched on what is the definition of romance. People will have slightly different concepts. I mean, the flowers and the chocolates are one thing, but I think it's the deeper things that are so much more, you know, important.
Not
you know.
the material stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's listening to one another and having fun together.
You're going to save me some money here.
Yeah.
This is really good. Honey, I'm going to listen to you more.
Yeah, that's right.
I said
That'll go over well.
I said the chocolates weren't
They're not.
everything.
There's always a caveat. All right. Now, we got in a text. Corey, I have to read this text. A wonderful text. A good marriage is built on trust, respect, and communication. You need to show the love. It is hard work, and you need to commit and make the effort. And then it's followed by, I love you, Corey Serrata. Guess who? I certainly hope it's your husband, Corey.
Well, if it's not, I better get the phone number of of that texter.
All right.
Thank you, honey.
Andy, you are the man. All right. Well, real quickly now, we're already just flying by, having fun. But we're going to change this around in order, and we'll go to Gail and Steve, talking about, when you were first together, were there anything, little surprises, any habits that maybe you thought were there that weren't there?
Specifically related to things like housekeeping, I think.
Housekeeping.
Ne comprends pas la housekeeping. What the hell does that mean? Okay, there's one surprise.
But he has learned over 51 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's hope.
Takes
right?
time.
Indeed.
Yeah, chip away a year at a time.
I found out what a vacuum cleaner was.
What about you guys?
Oh boy, going off that, I think men and women see dirt differently. So when I look at something, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a disaster. There's dust everywhere, and he's just, I don't think he sees it at all. So having to realize that. But yeah, do you have anything?
Yeah, well, for me, one of the big surprises was that my wife is actually a very clean and tidy person generally, except that it's the little things, so she'll forget a pair of socks in a weird place, or she'll take her toothbrush down to another the second bathroom to brush her teeth and then leave it on the kitchen counter or something like that. And it's everything else is clean, but there's just one or two things in a weird place, and I'm like, why did you leave it here?
And I never remember where I put my phone.
Yeah, that
ever,
too. Yeah,
ever.
yeah.
I think it speaks the bottom line. Communication, negotiation, and compromise are all vital aspects to keeping any relationship healthy and alive. So thank you so much for coming out here and for sharing your honest, great sense of humor time with us on this Valentine's Day special.
Yeah, you guys are troopers. Thank you.
Next week, coming up, we have optometrist Dr. Dan Samaiha. He's going to provide us with some helpful tips and advice on proper eye care from young children to seniors. Keep an eye out for that.
Oh, I get that one, Corey. Keep an eye out for that. Yeah, that was a good one. And also next week, Corey, we have an unbelievably inspiring man. He received a heart transplant this past summer at the MUHC, and he's going to be talking to us about this incredible journey that is still ongoing. You can catch us next Sunday at 4 p.m. In fact, every Sunday you could find us on CJD 800 listening to Life Unrehearsed. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, to the four of you, we've got some advice. And this is from my mother. Count your blessings. If she left her toothbrush somewhere wasn't to be in the big picture, is that really, really important? and you can pay me for that one.
And we got it on Facebook, so everyone can hear. Thank you all very much. You guys were fantastic. All right. Honey, I love you. I know you're listening because she just texted. I'm listening, Matt. I love you. All right. Thanks.